Alright, the first step in this complete build, or if you just want to add some power to an existing build, is going to be the Big 4 upgrade. Most cars it's a Big 3, but since this is a full frame vehicle, it's going to be the Big 4. Got some 0 gauge or 1/0 wire, terminal ends, fuse block, battery terminals, some 4 gauge wire, hydraulic crimper, and a battery. It's time to remove the old battery. 13mm. Always remove the negative first. Look at this wire right here. This is the stock battery to body ground wire. That's why we do the Big 4, 'cause that's what comes stock. Alright, so the Big 4 are going to be, one of them's going to go from the battery negative to the body ground. The other one's going to go from the battery negative to the frame ground. The other one's going to go from the battery positive to the alternator positive. And the other one is going to go to the engine block. This one already has a 2 gauge running to the engine block, and I'm going to call that sufficient for now. But the rest of them are going to get upgraded today. So I've pulled this electrical connector for the light out of the way right now. So got a good shot of what's currently being used as the body ground. I'm going to continue to use this same nut, same bolt, but instead of connecting to the side terminal, now that I have this dual terminal battery, I'm going to go straight to the top terminal. I'm going to go straight from the top terminal to the body ground. Other thing I'm going to do is come in here with a little piece of sandpaper, scratch away some of this paint. Got to be real careful not to scratch too much because this is Illinois and I don't want it to corrode, but I want to scratch away some so that I get a good solid connection here. Alright, I have the battery installed and I have a 1-aught running to body ground. So I think that looks kind of sloppy. I think I'm going to run the 1-aught slot down to the frame, and then I'm going to run a 4-gauge to the body ground. For my frame connection, I think I'm going to use, well, if you can see it down there, there's a ground connection that the engine uses. See down there on the frame? I'm going to use that same bolt. Alright, this is where we're at so far. I have 3 out of the 4 of the big 4 done. Let's take a look. So I have the battery installed. And I have that big thick 0-gauge or 1-aught wire going down. If I can get the light on there just right. See, it goes all the way down to the frame at the same spot where the engine ground's at. From the factory I have this 2-gauge running from the side terminal that goes over to the engine block up on top here, and it's close enough to the alternator where I don't think it's going to cause any interference with the engine. As long as I'm on that subject, let me go ahead and tell you what I'm talking about. Come over here to my car. I have an audio system in this one too. Grab the light. And this one grounds using a 4-gauge engine ground, and that connects over here on the side of the engine block. But the alternator is all the way down here. And I was having a problem where every time the bass would hit hard, the engine would stumble. For whatever reason, I have a whole bunch of theories on why that was. It might have been electricity messing with the sensors. Could have been magnetic induction from a large current flow turning on and off constantly. Whatever it was, I added this. Here's a 4-gauge wire that goes from the body ground down directly to the alternator case. And when I added that directly to the alternator case, the problem went away. It stopped stumbling when the bass hit. That's why sometimes you might want to think about wiring directly from the alternator case to the body ground or to the battery negative. But in this case, I don't think I need to, because this 2-gauge runs all the way to the top of the engine block right up here. It's close enough to the alternator. I'll see. It might wind up causing interference, it might not. We'll see what happens. See, I have this 4-gauge over here now, running to the body ground. I have the 1-aught running to the frame ground, and I have the 2-gauge running to the engine ground. Now the only thing I need to do to complete my big 4 is I have to increase the size of this wire back here, the one that goes to the back of the alternator charging cable on the positive side. From the factory, it's just this little one right here. That's like a 10-gauge or something. So I'm going to make that a 4-gauge, and that'll be the next step. I'm going to use the hydraulic crimper to crimp this terminal end onto the 4-gauge here. Take a piece of 4-gauge. Okay, wrong one. That thing is on there. Alright, that was the Big 4 upgrade. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please hit like, and if you want to see the rest of the build, go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Next video is going to be the RCA cables. They're going to run power to the back, and after that, we should almost be ready to put some amplifiers in.